Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Beyond the Sideline, podcast where we talk about the latest sports stories and give our opinions as fans watching our teams play from beyond the sideline. We'll cover the NFL, NBA, MLB, and occasionally the NHL, MMA/UFC, and boxing, as well as both college football and basketball. If you would like to be updated on when a new episode will be uploaded, you can follow my Twitter or Twitch at SepticKid24. SEPTICKIDD 24. Or you can also join my Discord server through either Twitter or Twitch as well. Episode 3, man. Time flies when you're having fun. I said this before on the first and second episode of the podcast, and if you haven't listened to those already, I highly recommend you do. We went over week 1 and week 2 of the NFL. Last episode, I also gave my predictions for who will make the playoffs and my weekly predictions. And we will get to those later. Um, but like I said, as I mentioned before in the last two episodes, I've been wanting to start a podcast for a couple of years, and now that I'm finally doing it, and we're already on episode 3, it feels really good. I expected these episodes to only be around 30 minutes or so, maybe 45, if I kind of went on a rant about things. But these episodes, the both episodes have been nearly an hour, which is not only slightly surprising to me. Like I said, I only thought I was gonna be talking for like 30 minutes. I didn't think I had much to say about the NFL because, like, I know I think I would say I know a good amount about the NFL. As of right now, I mean, I've watched every 49ers game since I'd say 2018 or 2019. Um, and I've been watching a lot of NFL since then. Um, this is the most consistent I've ever been watching the NFL. So I've gained a lot more knowledge, but I didn't think, like I said, I'd be talking for almost an hour about the NFL. But I mean, like I said, not only is it slightly surprising, it's also amazing that these have gone for almost an hour, which, I aimed for. I wanted these episodes to be near an hour. And when the NBA season comes around, they will most definitely be a little over an hour, most likely. And if we have, maybe we bring a guest on, they'll probably be a little bit longer too, because we're gonna have maybe some debates and some conversations. We'll get a little more personal with the guest and other things along that line. But someone told me that the fact that these episodes are longer than what I expected means I'm passionate about what I'm doing, and they couldn't be more right, and I completely agree with them. And before we get into today's topics today, I have one more thing to talk about. I wanted to welcome a certain group of people to the NFL family. Now, this is kind of like a little meme. I'm kind of memeing here, but I want to welcome the Swifties to the NFL family because now that Taylor Swift, was in the box with Travis's mom, I think it's safe to say that they're dating. And I guess supposedly he rented out a restaurant for her and his teammates after their game against the Bears. So I mean, if that's not official, I don't know what is. And I just saw right now before I started the podcast, she's supposed to be attending the Jets game as well. When they play the Chiefs, I believe they're playing in Arrowhead, or no, MetLife. They're playing in MetLife. Um, Sorry, I went blank there for a second. Um, so if there's any Swifties out there hearing this, welcome to the NFL family. I know the sport may be confusing at first, but I have no doubt you'll get the hang of everything and enjoy the games with the rest of us. And with that being said, let's get into our first topic. So, as of right now, it is 8:40 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. At the time I am recording this, and Thursday Night Football just ended. Congratulations to the Detroit Lions in a uh, in their win against the Green Bay Packers. They went into Lambeau and won 34-20. They won in stellar fashion. I believe the score here, I can pull up the stats right now. It was 27-3 at halftime, which is crazy. And this almost solidifies my prediction that I made last week in last episode, because I predicted that the Lions were going to be coming out of the NFC North and being the only team coming out of the NFC North. They're going to win the division, and that's going to be the only team from the NFC North that's going to be in the playoffs. Packers aren't getting a wild card. Vikings aren't getting a wild card. The Bears are certainly not getting a wild card. But the Lions have almost proved that they are going to be a dark horse and a team to look out for when it comes time for the playoffs. And I keep saying almost and unofficially because these next few games, I believe, are going to test them. So they do have the Panthers next week in Detroit. Then they go to Tampa to play the Bucks, which I think is going to be a little bit of a challenge when it comes to the Bucks offense versus the Lions defense. But their true test is going to come in week 6 when they go to Baltimore to play the Ravens. I'm sorry. Week 7. I knew something was wrong with that. Week 7 when they go to Baltimore to play the Ravens. They then play the Raiders in Detroit and then the Chargers in LA. So the Ravens and the Chargers are going to be there. The Bucks, the Ravens and Chargers are going to show us who the Lions really are. They already beat the Chiefs. Excuse me. They nearly lost to the Seahawks at overtime. You know, they blew out the Falcons. They beat the Packers by 14. I think if you can win 2 of those 3 games against the Bucks, the Ravens, and the Chargers, they're no doubt going to the playoffs. I mean, those are going to be your make or break games. I think the Bucks and Chargers are the best shot, but I mean, if you can beat the Ravens, there's no doubt that they're making the playoffs. I mean, there's not much else to be said about the Lions. Their defense is great. Their offense looks good, especially their running game. The running game was on a clinic today. I can pull up the stats right now. They had 211 rushing yards, 190 passing yards, 5.5 yards per play. They held the Packers to only 27 rushing yards, which is not good for me because I have Aaron Jones on my team, and I should have known better than to put him in against a team I knew they were going to lose to. But, you know, just the way the cookie crumbles. But enough about the Lions. I want to get into a certain topic. And I know this player has been met with some controversy, but I mean, I think he deserves another chance in the NFL. I think a lot of people can agree with me on that. He's been out of the league for, I want to say about 7-ish years? Maybe more, maybe less? Well, that player is quarterback Colin Kaepernick. He's been trying to make a roster for a while, and I just heard today or saw today that the Canadian Football League is putting him on a negotiations list. So, he may have an if what I'm about to say doesn't work out, he could fall back on and go to the CFL, and that hopefully NFL scouts can see him, prove his worth, and he can make a roster again. Now, he and thank you to rapper J. Cole for making this public. Colin Kaepernick sent a letter to Joe Douglas of the New York Jets, and I would like to read that letter and just give my honest opinion and reactions to it. If you would like to skip over this portion of me just reading the letter, I think it's safe to skip about 2 minutes ahead or so. And if I'm still reading it at that time, I mean, I should be close to done. It's only about a page and a half. It's nothing too long. Um, but yeah, with that being said, let's read it. Joe, I hope this letter finds you in great spirits, despite the less than ideal start to a big season. I'm wishing you, your staff, and the players a great game this weekend as you look to bounce back. I'm writing this, of course, in response to the unfortunate loss of Aaron Rodgers. I know the aspirations this season were, and still are, to win a championship, and so that Hall of Fame-sized hole will need to be filled as best as possible to keep the team on a Super Bowl track. As of right now, Zach Wilson is charged with that task, and I wish him and the rest of the team the best moving forward. However, I know that there are currently depth issues at the position, and I've heard the backup spot is likely to be filled by a veteran quarterback. As much as I would love the opportunity to fill that spot, I'm writing you in hopes that you can imagine a much different approach involving me. I would be honored and extremely grateful for the opportunity to come in and lead the practice squad. I would do this with the sole mission of getting your defense ready each week. If I were able to fill this role for the team, I believe this allows for multiple things. One, it gives your defense the advantages of getting a truer read on the more mobile, athletic, versatile quarterbacks. It will face when in weeks 4, 5, and 6. Mahomes, Wilson, and Hurts. I would consider it a privilege to be able to do this and would take on this responsibility with the dedication and passion as if it were the QB1 position. 2. This would also allow you guys as an organization to take a real look at where I'm at football-wise. In game-like situations against an elite defense, while also not putting any competitive pressure on Zach. I understand the importance of keeping him confident and focused as QB1, and I would only look to boost that confidence in any interactions that we may have if I was given the role within the team. In a perfect world for the Jets, Zach Wilson finds his stride and shows that he is able to lead this championship caliber team that you've put together to the Super Bowl. I believe a confident Zach Wilson has the tools to do this. However, in the event that this is not the case, I would love to offer you a risk-free contingency plan. I am sure of my ability to provide you with an elite QB option if, God forbid, QB1 goes down. However, I know that there may naturally be uncertainties from you and possibly from others about my playing abilities. This plan, I believe, allows me to be of great service to the team as a practice QB, while also giving you a low commitment chance to assess my capabilities to help in any other capacity you may see fit. Worst case scenario, you see what I have to offer and you're not that impressed. Best case scenario, you realize you have a real weapon at your disposal in the event you ever need to use it. Either of these scenarios, I would be committed to getting your defense ready week in and week out all season long, and I would wear that responsibility like a badge of honor. As a final point, I would like to add this. Unlike many of the veteran QBs that have been named in the media, I've never retired or stopped training. My training schedule has remained the same for 6 years. Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. to 8 a.m., training on the field and in the weight room. I've kept this training schedule without failure for the past 6 years in hopes that an opportunity will present itself. I say this to give you some perspective on where I'm at physically. I have also attached a list of my references within the league that will vouch for my character, work ethic, and ability. Thanks so much for your time. Colin Kaepernick. And as his references, he listed Jim Harbaugh, Michigan head coach, who was the 49ers head coach from 2011 to 2014 when he took them to the Super Bowl with Colin Kaepernick. Chip Kelly, UCLA head coach, who was the 49ers head coach for the lone 2016 season. John Harbaugh, the Baltimore Ravens head coach, Jim Harbaugh's brother. And Mark Davis, Las Vegas Raiders owner. Oh, I need some water after that. So, for those who don't know, Colin Kaepernick did, um, I guess, send comments towards the Jets saying that he would love to try out for them after Aaron Rodgers went out, but now it looks like he's just trying to get his foot in the door and not be a nuisance. He doesn't want to take Zach Wilson's job. He wants Zach Wilson to succeed. He's only there to help him and the team. But, like he said, God forbid something happens to Zach or unforeseen circumstances happens that they want to go a different way, they have Colin Kaepernick. I think the Jets would be stupid not to take Colin Kaepernick's offer. He's right. I mean, you're going up against Zach Wilson every week on offense in your practice. You know the playbook already. Obviously, when Colin Kaepernick goes out there, he'll know the playbook, but like he said, he's more agile, he's more athletic, he can run like Mahomes, Russell Wilson, and Jalen Hurts, and many other quarterbacks in the league. That's just their next 3 games. So this gives the defense a bit more of a it gives them a new insight on what they are going to be facing because Zach Wilson, sure he can run, but I feel like he is more of a pocket passer type quarterback. And Colin Kaepernick, I mean, he's game ready. You know, like he said, when you need him, you got him. He can even be QB2. Have him on the practice squad, or not QB2 in the sense that he's going to be on the sideline, but QB2 in the sense that if Zach Wilson goes down, the Jets put in their QB2 on the sideline, and then they go to practice the next day or a couple days after the game, and Colin Kaepernick then becomes the next man up. Like he will then take the role of QB1 until Zach Wilson gets back. I think that is a great idea. I think that's a great plan. Like I said, I think the Jets should take this offer or at least highly consider it. Because what Colin Kaepernick did is 6, 7 years in the past. All right, we look past that now. So many people kneel during the national anthem now. I get to many it is so very disrespectful. I'm not going to comment on that any further, but what's done is done. The man can play. Give him a shot. All right? That's all I got to say about that. All right, let's move on to who I thought were strong contenders for this year. Let's start off with 3 out of the 4 I named. The Eagles. Eagles, I think after the Bucks, they still look a little bit shaky. But I have no doubt that they are a true contender. You can bet on them to make it to the Super Bowl and or at least make a really good run. Now, as for the 49ers, I honestly think they're slightly better than the Eagles. Do I think they're the best team in the league? No. But at this time, I think that they do have the edge over the Eagles. Now, we will get to see them play each other in week 12 in Philadelphia at Lincoln Financial Field. So that will be a fun game. Hopefully everyone's healthy and we get to see what could have been in the NFC Championship game. But I mean, the Niners, best defense in the league, best running game in the league. Christian McCaffrey was the Conference Player of the Month. He won Conference Player of the Week every week, or for the past 4 weeks. You got the Yak Bros. You got Kittle. Ronnie Bell is proving his worth. You got that defensive line, which if you take out, you can put your second strings in, and it'll be like if no one ever left. And you got that great coaching staff. Now, I said the Niners weren't the best team in the league, and that's coming from a Niners fan because there's a team out there called the Dolphins who reside in Miami. The Miami Dolphins. They won 70-20 against the Broncos. I believe that is they had the most passing yards in a game. What else? Hold on. I'm actually, because I have, my PC up here in front of me. The Dolphins set a franchise record for most points scored, which was 70, touchdowns, which was 10, and total yards, which was 726. And that is the third most points scored in NFL history. And I'm sorry to all the Broncos fans for that. Was embarrassing. Just straight up. Like, come on. You got to put up a fight. I get it's Dolphins, but you got to fight. You got to want it. They just didn't want it. Dolphins wanted it more. Dolphins are the best team in the league. Is what it is. As for my fourth contender that I mentioned last week, how about them Cowboys? Cowboys are now looking to bounce back after a laughable loss against the Cardinals in Glendale, Arizona. They lost 28-16. Will this affect them going forward? I think it will. I think it'll affect them mentally. Now, they're still going to be a great team, but I think they're always going to have that in the back of their mind. Oh my God, we lost to the Cardinals. We should have won that game. They're going to play the Patriots next, so I think they are going to be playing in Arlington. But I think the Patriots could catch them off guard. And you have Zeke. Zeke knows their play calling. And Zeke knows what they're going to do on defense and on offense. So I think the Patriots have an upper hand here. I honestly like the Patriots in that game. That's not who I picked in my weekly predictions, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Patriots went out and won by like 10, like 24-14, or like maybe even 24-20. And speaking of my weekly predictions, I think now is a good time to, get back into that. So, for those who don't know, last week I gave my predictions on who was going to win for the upcoming week, and I will do the same this week and in the weeks to come. I will also keep a tally of my record overall and weekly, and we'll look over them. So, last week I went 12-4. My only the only picks that I got wrong were the Saints, the Jags, the Ravens, and the Cowboys. I'm kind of fine with those because they were kind of close games. Or they were close games. So going into week 4, I know Thursday Night Football already ended, but I made this list on Wednesday. Or no, Tuesday, I believe. I had the Lions winning. I also got the Jags, the Rams, the Ravens, the Vikings, the Bengals, the Bucks, the Dolphins, the Broncos, who are playing the Raiders, I believe. I'm gonna double check that right now. Oh no, they're playing the Bears. Yeah, Broncos against the Bears. The Eagles, Steelers, Chargers, 49ers, Cowboys. I got the Chiefs on Sunday night against the Jets, and I got the Seahawks on Monday night against, who are they playing? Monday night against the Giants. Those are my picks for the week. I'm 12-4, like I said, so hopefully, I can improve upon that record. I remember, I think it was last year, I almost got all of them right. It was just some unforeseen circumstances that happened. It was just really unfortunate. Some teams that I thought were going to win lost. So, but it is what it is. All right. So, we went over the NFL kind of quickly. Um, you know, 30 minutes, almost 30 minutes into the podcast, and it looks like we're already going to wrap up, but we're not. So I know that the first 2 episodes of the podcast, and even this one up until this point, have been all NFL talk. But as I always mention in the intro of every single episode, I'm also going to be covering the NBA, which I am very passionate about, more so than football. Well, there was a huge blockbuster trade that happened yesterday. Well, not as at the time I'm recording this yesterday, but the time you guys are listening, it was 2 days ago, Wednesday. And I thought, why not talk about it to start off the NBA portion of the podcast and get ready for the NBA season, which is right around the corner. Media days are soon. I know the Lakers today had their, I guess, introductory media day, I guess, or pre-media day conference with Rob Pelinka and Darvin Ham. But official media days are starting soon. I think the Lakers is on the 2nd or the 5th. The preseason starts on October 5th. Oh, so they're okay. Scratch that. I think theirs is on the 2nd. The season officially starts on October 24th, with the Lakers playing the Nuggets in Denver, I believe. So, that being said, let's get into the trade. So I'm gonna pull it up right now. Going on Twitter or X, whatever you wish to call it. So here's the trade. The Portland Trailblazers are sending Damian Lillard to the point guard Damian Lillard to the Milwaukee Bucks in a 3-team deal. Drew Holiday, DeAndre Ayton, Toumani Camara, a 2029 unprotected Milwaukee first-round pick, and unprotected Milwaukee swap rights in 2028 and 2030 are going to the Blazers. The Suns are going to receive Yusuf Nurkic, Grayson Allen, Nasir Little, and Keon Johnson. If I am being brutally honest, I don't think anyone lost in this trade. I really don't think anyone lost. Now, you could argue the Suns are the losers here, or the Trailblazers, obviously, because you're getting rid of Damian Lillard, but you're getting DeAndre Ayton and Drew Holiday. But I heard, that the Trailblazers are looking to move Drew Holiday, with the Lakers looking to be his top landing spot, but I highly doubt that's going to be. I highly doubt that's going to happen. The Suns lost DeAndre Ayton, but they got Yusuf Nurkic back, or they got Yusuf Nurkic, so he fills the void there, and it helps them to relieve cap space for next year to go after someone else. And I heard today that the Damian Lillard, after he heard that he wasn't going to get traded to the Heat, he was willing to come back to the Trailblazers, but the organization told him that, what's done is done. Plans are already in motion. There's no going back, which is really sad to hear, because Damian Lillard poured his heart out into that city, for that team, for the culture. And the fact that he wanted to go back and the team is just dishonoring that because they're now just over it is really heartbreaking to see as an NBA fan. Damian Lillard's off to bigger and better things with Milwaukee. You got a triple threat now. You got Damian, you got Chris Middleton, you got Giannis. That is going to be a scary trio. That triple threat is insane. Dame throwing lobs to Giannis, kicking it out to Chris Middleton. He can shoot or drive up, Like, it's just so wild to me that that was the trade. Like, when I saw it, I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. But, the NBA's business. Now, as for Drew Holiday, where would he fit best in the league? Who needs a point guard? Now, I heard the Hawks may be looking to trade Trae Young. That could be an option. You could trade Drew Holiday, some picks, the picks that you just recently acquired, maybe some cash and other assets, and get Trae Young. Then you got Trae Young and DeAndre Ayton, which is a nice little combo, if you ask me. You could trade him to the Lakers. But I think the Lakers are set, because if you were going to trade him to the Lakers, you got to give up either D'Angelo Russell or Gabe Vincent, who you just signed in free agency. I don't think they're gonna get rid of Gabe Vincent that quickly. But who knows? You know, it's the Lakers. Um, but honestly, I think Drew Holiday would fit very well in Atlanta's system. So I know this was a very short episode. I didn't expect it to be this short, but if I'm being honest, I didn't have much to talk about today. Um, but I really wanted to get this episode out, so I just thought I'd come on and record a short and quick, straight to the point episode. You know, we still almost hit the 40-minute mark, which I think as long as we're in that 40-minute range or above, I see that as an absolute win when it comes to a podcast. Um, there's nothing wrong with podcasts being 20, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. They don't always have to be an hour and a half. And since there wasn't a lot to cover, this one was a bit shorter. I hope you guys enjoyed that NBA portion. You know, we're only getting started when it comes to the NBA. Like I said, the season starts October 24th. We got a lot to look forward to. We got the Lakers looking to bounce back with their brand new star-studded roster. The Nuggets looking to defend their title for the first time. Warriors are hungry. Timberwolves look great. Pelicans are struggling as always. Milwaukee looks dangerous now. The Suns are dangerous. You know, you got a lot of things to look forward to as an NBA fan and as an NFL fan. MLB Playoffs are coming up as well. Actually, before we end, let's look. Let's get into the MLB a little bit. Let's look. Okay. So Baltimore and Minnesota have clinched their divisions. Tampa have clinched a wild card berth. Toronto, Houston, and Texas are battling it out for the last spots. So I think Texas is gonna win the division. They struggled a little bit against the Angels, but they are 2 games ahead of the Astros. I mean, Seattle could have upset them, but I think it's safe to say that nothing's going to change in the AL. Um, Baltimore and Texas are going to be moving on. Minnesota, Houston, Toronto, Tampa. You know, there's that. As for the NL, Atlanta, or the Braves, the Dodgers, and the Brewers have all clinched their divisions. Braves clinched the number 1 seed in the NL, and I believe um they haven't even said the Orioles clinched it yet, but I'm pretty sure they clinched it. The Phillies are back in the playoffs as a wild card, which is really great. The Diamondbacks look like they're gonna be making it, but who knows? They're going up against Houston. And then you got the Marlins and the Cubs fighting for that last spot. I don't think the Reds are good enough to make that climb, but I really hope the Cubs make it. I really like the Cubs. You know, if I wasn't an Angels fan, I'd probably be a Cubs fan. Uh, and to all my Rockies fans out there, congratulations on the first year. Congratulations on reaching 100 losses for the first time in franchise history. I'm just teasing you. At least you're not as bad as the A's or the Royals. Even the White Sox. Hell, even the Angels, and I'm an Angels fan. God, we're a dumpster fire. But like I said, um, actually, hold on. I'm sorry. We are all over the place. Like I said, this is unedited, uncut. This is a raw podcast, all right? Raw recording. Who do I think's gonna win it all? The Braves. It's gonna be between the Braves or the Dodgers. I don't think the Orioles or Rangers got enough in them to beat those 2 teams. Um, it's whoever comes out, it's whoever comes out on top versus LA and the Dodgers, or versus the Dodgers and the Braves. Whoever, because they're going to be playing each other once in a series, no doubt. So whoever wins that series, I think is going to win it all, and I think it's going to be the Braves. But for real this time, like I was saying, um, I'm sorry this episode was kind of short. I know I shouldn't be apologizing for that, but with the other episodes being roughly 50 to 56 minutes, this one being 10 minutes less. Well, we're getting up there now. But, so with this one being in like the 40-minute range, you know, like I said, there's nothing wrong with podcasts being 30, 40 minutes long. They don't always got to be 50 plus minutes, hour and a half. Um, but that being said, that is going to be our last topic for this episode. Hope you all enjoyed today's episode, and I hope you enjoyed the NBA and MLB portion of the podcast. I didn't plan for the MLB portion to be talked about. So what I usually do, I like write a list of topics that I want to talk about, and some subpoints. I don't read things verbatim when it comes to the podcast. It's just, things I want to talk about, and they're just there for reminders. Because if I clicked record and had nothing, I don't know what I'd be talking about. So they're just there to help guide me, and transition into the next segment, and make sure I hit all the talking points for the episode. And the MLB part was very impromptu, very improv. I did not plan for that. It was very short and quaint, but hope you guys enjoyed that and the NBA portion as well. Once the NBA season starts, expect a lot more NBA content. And when the MLB playoffs start, I will try my best to cover that as well. If you have any feedback, questions, or topics you think I should cover, feel free to leave it all in the Q&A section if you're listening on Spotify, or the comments if you're listening on YouTube. Thank you again to everyone for listening to the third episode of Beyond the Sideline. Have a great rest of your weekend. I hope to see y'all back for episode number 4 of Beyond the Sideline.